I want to share with you a profound truth about the nature of hatred and your relationship to it. What others feel toward you, their hatred, their judgment, their criticism is nothing but their state of consciousness made visible. It has nothing to do with who you truly are. Let me tell you a great secret. When others hate you, they are not actually hating you. They are hating a concept they have created in their own consciousness. They are hating an imagination they have constructed. They are hating their own projection. In the Bible it states the world cannot hate you, but it hates me because they testify that its works are evil. This is not speaking of a physical person being hated. It is speaking of the state of consciousness that rises above the world's limitations and judgments. Consider this profound truth. When you understand that others' hatred is merely their state of consciousness externalized, you are freed from the need to change their minds or win their approval. You are liberated to occupy the state of consciousness you choose. You see, when someone expresses hatred toward you, what is really happening? They are showing you their state of consciousness. They are revealing their limitations, their fears, their own inner conflicts. Their hatred has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their state. Let me share with you what I call the law of projected consciousness. Whatever others project onto you, whether love or hate, acceptance or rejection, is merely their state of consciousness made visible. You are not the target of their hatred. You are the screen upon which they project their state. Consider this deeply when you understand this truth. Others' hatred loses its power over you. Their judgment becomes meaningless. Their criticism becomes irrelevant. For you understand that they are not seeing you. They are seeing their old state reflected back to them. Let me tell you about something I call the state of divine indifference. This is not coldness or lack of caring. This is the state where you are so secure in your own consciousness that others' opinions, whether love or hate, have no power to move you from your chosen state. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Let them alone, they be blithe." You don't fight against their hatred. You don't try to change their minds. You simply remain in your chosen state, allowing them to occupy whatever state they choose. Now here is the wonderful news that hatred can actually serve as a confirmation that you are occupying a state beyond their current understanding. Their rejection can be a sign that you have transcended the limitations they still accept as real. Let me share with you what I call the law of transcendent consciousness. When you occupy a state that transcends others' limitations, their hatred is often automatic. They hate what they don't understand. They reject what they cannot comprehend within their current state. But remember, their hatred is their limitation, not yours. Their rejection is their boundary, not yours. Their judgment is their prison, not yours. Consider what the scripture means when it says, "Blessed are ye when men shall hate you." This is not celebrating hatred. This is acknowledging that when you occupy a state beyond others' understanding, their hatred is often inevitable and ultimately irrelevant. Let me share with you another powerful truth. When you are secure in your own state of consciousness, others' hatred becomes a tool for your growth rather than a weapon for your destruction. Their rejection becomes confirmation of your transcendence rather than evidence of your unworthiness. Think about this deeply. Every great advancement in human consciousness has been met with hatred. Every expansion of human potential has been resisted. Every breakthrough has been rejected until it became the new normal. Let me share with you another profound dimension of this truth. Consider what happens in your consciousness when you encounter others' hatred. Most people make what I call the fundamental error. They try to escape the hatred, prove themselves worthy, or fight against the rejection. But I tell you this, all of these responses come from accepting their hatred as having power over you. Instead, let me share with you what I call the law of conscious elevation. When others hate you, use their hatred as a stepping stone to elevate your consciousness even higher. In the Bible, it states, "Love your enemies, bless them that curse you." This is not mere moral advice. This is a profound psychological law. When you can remain in a state of love while others hate, when you can maintain your chosen state while others reject you, you are demonstrating mastery over consciousness. Consider this deeply. When others hate you, they are actually giving you an opportunity to prove the power of your consciousness. They are providing you with a chance to demonstrate that external conditions have no power over your internal state. Let me share with you what I call the law of opposite assumption. When faced with hatred, instead of contracting in fear or expanding in anger, assume the exact opposite state. If they project hatred, assume love. If they project rejection, assume acceptance. If they project limitation, assume abundance. You see, most people make the mistake of meeting hatred with hatred, rejection with rejection, judgment with judgment. But I tell you this, when you do that, you are accepting and energizing the very state you wish to transcend. Consider what the scripture means when it says, "Judge not, that he be not judged." This is not about morality. This is about the law of consciousness. Whatever state you occupy, whether judgment or acceptance, hatred or love, becomes your experience. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine detachment. This is the state where others' hatred has no power to disturb your peace, where their rejection has no ability to shake your certainty, where their judgment has no capacity to alter your chosen state. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Be in the world, but not of it." You acknowledge the existence of others' hatred while refusing to enter into its state. You recognize their rejection while remaining in your chosen state of acceptance. It's about this profound truth. When others hate you, they're actually telling you more about their limitations than about your worth. Their hatred is a declaration of their boundaries, not your value. Their rejection is a statement of their fears, not your potential. Let me share with you what I call the law of consciousness reflection. Whatever others project onto you is merely a reflection of their own consciousness. Their hatred reflects their limitations. Their rejection reflects their fears. Their judgment reflects their insecurities. But here's the wonderful news: you are not their reflection. You are not their projection. You are not their imagination. You are the pure awareness that can choose which state to occupy regardless of their projections. Consider this deeply. When others hate you, they are actually giving you a gift. The gift of clarity about which state you choose to occupy. Will you enter their state of hatred, or will you maintain your state of love? Will you accept their rejection, or will you remain in acceptance? Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious choice. In every moment of hatred, in every instance of rejection, in every experience of judgment, you have a choice. You can either enter their state or maintain your own. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Choose you this day whom you shall serve. Will you serve the state of hatred they project, or will you serve the state of love you choose to occupy?" Think about this. Every time others hate you, they are actually presenting you with an opportunity to demonstrate the power of your consciousness. Every rejection is a chance to prove that external conditions cannot dictate your internal state. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine immunity. This is the state where others' hatred has no more power to affect your consciousness than a shadow has power to affect the sun. Their rejection has no more ability to shake your state than a wave has power to shake the ocean. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world." The state you choose to occupy is greater than any state others project onto you. Consider this profound truth when you truly understand that others' hatred is merely their state made visible. You are freed from the need to defend, explain, or justify. You are liberated to simply be, to occupy your chosen state regardless of their projections. Let me share with you another profound dimension of this truth. In the Bible it states, "If the world hates you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you." This is not about the personal hatred. It's about the world's natural resistance to any consciousness that transcends its limitations. Consider what I call the law of elevated consciousness. When you elevate your consciousness beyond the common stake, when you refuse to accept the limitations others embrace, when you choose to live from a higher state, hatred from those stilled by limitations is natural. You see, their hatred is actually a confirmation that you're no longer operating at their level of consciousness. Their rejection is evidence that you've transcended the state that they're currently occupying. Their criticism proves you've moved beyond their limitations. Let me share with you what I call the principle of divine distinction. When others hate you, they are actually helping you distinguish yourself from the mass consciousness. They are helping you confirm your occupation of a higher state. I think about this deeply. Every prophet, every visionary, every individual who has dared to live from a higher state of a hadith has passed, not because they were wrong, but because they were operating from a state beyond the world's current understanding. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you." Don't be surprised by hatred. Don't be shocked by rejection. Don't be dismayed by criticism. These are merely signs that you're no longer conforming to the limitations of mass consciousness. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of persistent elevation. When faced with hatred, don't descend to the state of those who hate you. Don't drop down to their level of consciousness. Instead, use their hatred as momentum to rise even higher. You see, most people make this crucial mistake. When faced with hatred, they try to defend themselves. They try to prove themselves. They try to justify their position. But I tell you this, no defense is necessary when you understand the law of consciousness. Consider this profound truth. Those who hate you are not actually seeing you. They are seeing their own limitations reflected back to them. They are seeing their own fears magnified. They are seeing their own boundaries challenged. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine detachment. This is the state where you are so secure in your consciousness that others' hatred becomes merely interesting rather than impactful. Their rejection becomes informative rather than influential. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." This is not about pardoning enemies. This is about understanding that those who hate you are operating from a state of limited consciousness. They literally know not what they do. Let me share with you another powerful technique I call the consciousness of transcendence. When others express hatred toward you, instead of reacting, pause and ask yourself what state of consciousness is being revealed here. What limitations are being exposed? You see, their hatred is actually a gift. It's showing you exactly what states of consciousness you've transcended. It's revealing precisely what limitations you've moved beyond. It's confirming exactly how far you've elevated your own consciousness. Consider what happens when you shine a light into darkness. The darkness doesn't attack the light. It simply cannot comprehend it. This is exactly what happens when you operate from a higher state of consciousness. Those in lower states cannot comprehend your state, so they resist it. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious resistance. The more you elevate your consciousness, the more resistance you will face from those who haven't elevated theirs. The higher you rise, the more those still bound by limitations will resist your rise. But here's the wonderful truth. Their resistance is actually helping you. Their hatred is actually serving you. Their rejection is actually confirming you. For every expression of hatred is merely showing you that you're no longer bound by the limitations they still accept as real. Think about this when someone hates you for living your truth, for expressing your authentic state, for occupying a higher consciousness. They are actually helping you strengthen your conviction in your chosen state. Let me share with you another profound aspect of this truth. Consider what I call the law of conscious polarization. When you occupy a state that transcends common limitations, you naturally create polarization. Some will be drawn to your light, while others will resist it with hatred. In the Bible it states, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword." This is not about physical conflict. It's about the natural division that occurs when you dare to occupy a higher state of consciousness. You see, when you refuse to conform to limitations, when you choose to live from an elevated state, you automatically create what I call the contrast of consciousness. Your very presence becomes a mirror reflecting back to others their own limitations, their own fears, their own boundaries. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious magnetism. The more firmly you occupy your chosen state, the more you will attract both intense love and intense hatred. Those ready to elevate their consciousness will be drawn to you, while those committed to their limitations will resist you. Consider this deeply. Their hatred is actually a form of tribute. It's an unconscious acknowledgement that you've transcended the limitations they still accept as real. Their rejection is actually a confirmation that you're no longer bound by the constraints they still embrace. This is what the scripture means when it says, "You are the light of the world." When you shine your light, when you live from your elevated state of consciousness, you automatically create contrast. Light doesn't fight darkness. It simply reveals what darkness has been hiding. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of conscious authenticity. The more authentic you are to your chosen state, the more polarization you will create. Some will recognize and resonate with your truth, while others will react with hatred to what they cannot understand. You see, most people make this fundamental error. They try to dim their light to avoid others' hatred. They try to shrink their consciousness to escape others' rejection. They try to conform their state to avoid others' criticism. But I tell you this, dimming your light doesn't serve anyone. Shrinking your consciousness doesn't help anyone. Conforming your state doesn't benefit anyone. The world needs your light in its full intensity, even if that light triggers others' hatred. Let me share with you what I call the state of divine authenticity. This is the state where you are so secure in your chosen consciousness that others' hatred becomes irrelevant to your expression. Their rejection becomes meaningless to your expansion. Their criticism becomes powerless against your truth. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Let your light so shine before men." This is not about seeking attention or provoking reaction. It's about being authentically true to your elevated state of consciousness, regardless of how others respond. Consider this profound truth. When you allow others' hatred to dim your light, you're not just denying yourself. You're denying those who need your light to find their way. When you let others' rejection shrink your consciousness, you're not just limiting yourself. You're limiting those who could be inspired by your example. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious responsibility. Once you understand that others' hatred is their limitation, not yours, you have a responsibility to maintain your elevated state. Their hatred doesn't give you permission to descend to their level of consciousness. Think about this. Every time you maintain your elevated state in the face of hatred, you're demonstrating what's possible. Every time you stay true to your consciousness, despite rejection, you're showing others that they too can transcend limitations. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious elevation. When others hate you, they're actually providing you with an opportunity to demonstrate the power of elevated consciousness. Their hatred becomes your chance to show that external conditions need not affect internal state. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Love your enemies, Do good to them that hate you. This is not about being nice to those who hate you. It's about maintaining your elevated state of consciousness, regardless of how others react to it. Consider what happens when you remain in love while others hate, when you stay in peace while others attack, when you maintain joy while others reject. You're not just preserving your state, you're demonstrating the power of consciousness over circumstances. Consider what I call the law of conscious expansion. When others hate you, they actually provide you with an opportunity to expand your consciousness even further. Their hatred becomes a catalyst for your growth. In the Bible it states, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you." This is not celebrating persecution. It's recognizing that opposition can serve as a powerful force for expanding your consciousness. You see, when faced with hatred, most people contract, they shrink, they retreat. But I tell you this, hatred can be the very force that pushes you to expand beyond your current limitations, to occupy even higher states of consciousness. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious transformation. Every instance of hatred you encounter is actually an invitation to transform your consciousness. Every rejection is an opportunity to deepen your understanding. Every criticism is a chance to strengthen your state. Consider this deeply. Those who hate you are actually serving as unconscious agents of your expansion. Their hatred provides the resistance against which you can strengthen your conscious power. Their rejection offers the contrast through which you can clarify your chosen state. This is what the scripture means when it says, "The stone which the builders reject has become the head of the corner." Your very rejection by others can become the foundation of your greatest strength. Let me share with you another powerful principle I call the law of conscious immunity. The more you understand that others' hatred is their stake, not yours, the more immune you become to its effects. Their rejection loses its power to disturb your peace. Their criticism fails to shake your certainty. You see, most people make this crucial error. They try to protect themselves from hatred by building walls, by creating defenses, by establishing barriers. But I tell you this, true immunity comes not from protection, but from understanding. Consider what I call the state of divine understanding. This is the state where you so completely understand the nature of consciousness that others' hatred becomes merely interesting rather than threatening. Their rejection becomes instructive rather than destructive. This is what the Bible means when it says, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." The truth that sets you free is the understanding that others' hatred is their stake, their limitation, their boundary, not yours. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious selection. When others hate you, you have a choice in every moment. You can either enter their state of hatred, or you can maintain your chosen state of love. You can accept their rejection, or you can remain in acceptance. Think about this profound truth. Every time others express hatred towards you, they are actually presenting you with an opportunity to choose your state of consciousness. Their hatred becomes the backdrop against which you can demonstrate your conscious power. Let me share with you what I call the law of conscious reflection. Whatever others project onto you, whether their love, rejection, or acceptance, is merely a reflection of their state of consciousness. You are the mirror, not the reflection. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Judge not that ye be not judged." When you understand that all judgment is self-judgment, that all hatred self-hatred, that all rejection is self-rejection, you are freed from the need to react to others' projections. Consider this, when someone hates you, they are actually showing you their relationship with themselves. When they reject you, they are revealing their rejection of aspects of themselves. When they criticize you, they are expressing their own inner critic. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious compassion. When you truly understand that others' hatred comes from their limitations, their fears, their boundaries, you can actually feel compassion for them while maintaining your elevated state. This is not weak compassion that compromises your state. This is strong compassion that understands while remaining unmoved. This is clear compassion that recognizes the source of hatred while refusing to enter its state. Think about this. Every time someone hates you for living your truth, for expressing your life, for occupying your chosen state, they are actually showing you where they feel most limited, most afraid, most bound.
Let me reveal to you the exact principle by which this operates in consciousness. What appears as delay? What feels like resistance? What seems like endless waiting? These are actually the final moments before manifestation. Just as the darkest hour comes before dawn, your greatest resistance precedes your greatest breakthrough. Here is the divine law. When manifestation seems furthest away, it is actually closest hand. For in the realm of consciousness, every feeling of distance is actually a sign of imminent manifestation. Your breakthrough is not coming. It is already here in consciousness, pressing against the thin veil of appearance. Now let me share with you something profound that few will ever grasp. The very fact you are receiving this message, that you are hearing these words, is absolute proof that your breakthrough is at hand. For in divine law, nothing comes to your attention unless it is already seeking expression in your world. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing it's not coming. It is here now. For in the realm of consciousness, there is no waiting, no process, no delay. There is only the acceptance or rejection of what already is. Let me share with you now how this principle operates specific areas of your life. For Laszlo applies to every sphere of manifestation. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that the very presence of desire is proof of its fulfillment. For in divine law, no desire can exist unless its fulfillment already exists in consciousness. The self is the shadow cast by the manifestation that already is. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your desire is directly proportional to the immediacy of its manifestation. That burning sensation you feel, it is not longing, it is the press against the thin veil of appearance. That persistent vision, it is not fantasy, it is reality-seeking expression. Now here is something profound about desire that most will never grasp. The universe will give you desires it cannot fulfill. Every desire you feel that use out saying what it is about to deliver. Your desires are not your tormentors, they are your prophets. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing my desires are not mere wishes, they are announcements of what must come. For in consciousness there is no unfulfilled desire. There is only delayed recognition of what already is. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your apparent obstacles. Every barrier you face, every step back to delay, all of these are actually signs of imminent breakthrough. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that time itself is nothing but a servant of consciousness. What appears as delay in the world of Fizar is actually perfect timing of divine law. For in consciousness there is no waiting. There is only the perfect unfoldment of what already is. Here is the exact law. The moment of greatest doubt is the moment of imminent manifestation. That feeling of how much longer is actually the birth pain of manifestation. That sense of will it ever happen is the final resistance before breakthrough. Now here is something profound about divine timing that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't delay, it develops. What appears as way to the perfect preparation for manifestation. Your seeming delays are not denials. They are divine setups for perfect manifestation. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing. Every apparent delay is actually perfect timing. For in the realm of consciousness, there is no such thing as waiting. There is only the perfect unfoldment of divine order. Let me reveal to you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your current circumstances. Every condition that seems fixed, every true unchangeable reality that feels permanent. All of these are actually fluid and responsive to your consciousness. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that circumstances have no power to persist except through your consciousness of them. For in divine law, what appeared as solid circumstance is actually as malleable as clay in the hands of your imagination. Here is the exact law. Your current circumstances, no matter how seemingly fixed, are actually in a constant state of flux, responding moment by moment to your consciousness. That unchanged situation, it is actually trembling on the verge of transformation. That fixed reality, it is actually fluid, waiting for your consciousness to reshape it. Now here is something profound about circumstances that most will never grasp. The universe doesn't see your current conditions, it sees only your consciousness of what could be. Your circumstances are not your prison, they are your canvas, waiting for the brush of your imagination. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, my circumstances are fluid and responsive to my consciousness. For in the realm of consciousness, there is no such thing as fixed reality. There is only the constantly shifting reflection of your assumptions. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your past experiences. Every failure you've endured, every setback you face, every disappointment you survive, all of these are actually building blocks for your imminent breakthrough. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that failure is impossible in the divine economy. For in consciousness, what appears as failure is actually success in rehearsal. Every seeming defeat is actually preparation for victory. Every apparent setback is advancement in disguise. Here is the exact law. The magnitude of your previous failures is directly proportional to the scale of your imminent success. Those bitter defeats, they were actually training grounds for triumph. Those painful setbacks, they were actually positioning you for breakthrough. Now here is something profound about failure that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't recognize failure. It recognizes only experience, only development. Your failures are not your identity. They are your education preparing you for success beyond measure. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, every failure transformed into greater success. For in consciousness, there is always permanent defeat. There is only temporary instruction, only momentary redirection, only perfect preparation. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your perceived limitations. Every boundary that seems to restrict, every limiting you, every ceiling that seems to cap your potential, all of these are actually springboards to greater expression. For every boundary that seems to confine you, every restriction that appears to bind you, every limitation that feels insurmountable, the launch at your greatest expansion. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that limitations exist only in consciousness. For in divine law, what appears as limitation is actually an invitation to transcend, to expand, to break through into new dimensions of expression. Here is the exact law. The more confined you feel, the greater your imminent expansion. That sense of being boxed in, it is actually the pressure building for explosive growth, that feeling of being restricted. It is actually the compression that precedes expansion. Now, if you find now limitations that most will never grasp. The universe doesn't recognize boundaries. It recognizes only opportunities for expansion. Your limitations are not your prison walls. They are your launching pads designed to propel you all previous boundaries. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing every limitation contains within it the seed of greater freedom. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as permanent restriction. There is only temporary compression before expansion. Let me share with you now how this principle operates in your realm of your divine potential. Every talent that lies dormant, every gift that remains unexpressed, every ability that seems blocked, all of these are actually gathering force for magnificent expression. Here is the exact law. The greater your sense of unrealized potential, the more in it its expression, that feeling of untapped greatness. It is actually your manifested reality demanding expression. That sense of unrealized dreams, it is actually your success pressing against the present moment. Now, here's something profound about view of a universe doesn't give you abilities you cannot express. Every talent you possess, every gift you've been given, every capability you feel, all of these are guarantees of their own expression. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this: knowing my potential is not future possibility. It present reality seeking expression. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as unrealized potential. There is only temporarily unexpressed reality. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine timing. Everything that seems delayed, every opportunity that appears missed, every timing that feels off, all of these are actually perfect orchestration in divine sequence. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that nothing you experience is accidental. For in divine law, what appears as coincidence is actually consciousness made visible, the outer world reflecting your inner knowing of imminent manifestation. Here is the exact law. The increasing frequency of synchronicities in your life is direct approaching manifestation. Those meaningful numbers you keep seeing, they are actually consciousness confirming your breakthrough. Those chance encounters, they are actually divine orchestration making way for your good. Now, here is something profound about divine science that most have never grasped. The you whispered speak in whispers, it speaks in patterns. Every recurring sign, every repeated message, every persistent synchronicity is actually the universe confirming your imminent breakthrough. Throughout your consciousness, maintain every synchronicity is confirmation of my manifestation. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as coincidence. There is only the visible evidence of invisible law. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine preparation. Every challenge you're facing, every experience you're having, all of these are actually perfect preparation for your imminent breakthrough. Let me reveal to you now how this principle operates in the realm of your seeming setbacks. For every obstacle that appears in your path, every resistance that rises up, every challenge that confronts you, these are not barriers to your breakthrough. They are announcements of its imminence. When you grasp this principle, you will understand backs are actually setups. For in divine law, what appears as opposition is actually opportunity in disguise. Resistance actually advancement in reverse clothing. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your current challenges is directly proportional to your main breakthrough. Those overwhelming obstacles, they are actually measuring the size of your coming victory. That fierce resistance, it is actually calculating the scale of your impending triumph. Now, here is something profound about setbacks that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't send obstacles to stop you. It sends them to strengthen you. Every challenge you face is actually custom designed to prepare you for the level of success that awaits you. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing, my sector are actually divine setups. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as opposition, there is only opportunity wearing a mask. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine precinct. Every skill you're developing, every experience you're gaining, all of these are actually perfect training for your imminent elevation. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that relationships are not fixed. They are fluid expressions of consciousness. For in divine law, what appears as separation actually preparation for deeper union. What feels like disconnection is actually realignment for perfect connection. Here is the exact law. The depth of your current loneliness is actually measuring the magnitude of your coming actions. That sense of isolation, it is action created space for divine relationships. That feeling of disconnection, it is actually clearing the way for perfect unity. Now here is something profound about divine relationships that few will ever grasp. The universe doesn't remove people from your purpose, it arranges relationships to match your rising consciousness. Every relationship shift you experience is actually aligning you with your next level of expression. Throughout your consciousness, maintaining every relationship change is perfect divine orchestration. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as lost connection. There is only perfect realignment for greater expression. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of divine purpose. Every future path, every uncertainty about your direction, every doubt about your calling, all of these are actually clarity in disguise. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that purpose is not something you find. It is something you allow to find you. For in divine law, what appears as confusion is actually perfect purpose preparing to reveal itself with absolute clarity. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your questioning about purpose is directly proportional to the magnitude of your coming revelation. That deep uncertainty is actually certainty gathering force. That persistent questioning, it is actually your purpose pressing for recognition. Now, here is something profound about divine purpose that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't hide your purpose from you, reveals the very questions that seem to obscure it. Your confusion is not a barrier to clarity, it is the soil from which absolute certainty will grow. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing my purpose is not lost, it is revealing itself with perfect timing. For in conscious such thing the puzzlelessness, there is only purpose preparing for perfect expression. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine abundance. Every financial strain, every material lack, every resource limitation is actually abundance gathering force for expression. When you truly understand this principle, you will see that lack is impossible in the divine economy. For in divine law, what appears as scarcity is actually abundance compressed. What feel like limitation, a limited supply gathering force. Here is the exact law. The intensity of your current financial pressure is directly proportional to the magnitude of your coming abundance. That overwhelming sense of lack is actually pressed to its breaking point. That feeling of restriction, it is actually unlimited supply preparing to burst forth. Now, here is something profound about divine abundance that few will ever grasp. The universe doesn't create lack, it creates pressure for expansion. Every fry you experience is actually the universe compressing abundance until it must explode into manifestation. Throughout your consciousness, maintain this knowing my current limitations are actually unlimited supply and compression. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as lack. There is only abundance preparing for expression. Let me share with you now how this same principle operates in the realm of your divine health. Every physical challenge, every bodily limitation, every health concern, all of these are actually perfect health pressing against temporary appearance. Let me reveal to you now this principle operates in the realm of your divine health. For every physical limitation you're experiencing, every bodily challenge you're facing, every health concern that troubles you, these are actually perfect health pushing through into expression. When you grasp this principle, you will understand that illness is impossible in divine reality. For in divine law, what appears as sickness is actually health asserting itself. What feels like limitation is actually wholeness pressing through appearance. Here is the exact law. The intensity of current physical challenges is directly proportional to the magnitude of your coming health breakthrough. That persistent condition, it is actually perfect death gathering force. That chronic issue, it is actually wholeness preparing to express. Now here is something profound, health that few will ever comprehend. The universe doesn't create illness, it creates opportunities for greater health expression. Every physical challenge you face is actually perfect health demanding recognition. Through your conscious knowing, my body is not broken, it is breaking through to perfect expression. For in consciousness, there is no such thing as permanent illness. There is only temporary appearance yielding to divine reality. Let me share with you now how the sample operates in the realm of your divine wisdom. every confusion you experience, every uncertainty you face, every doubt that clouds your mind. All of these are actually perfect understanding gathering force. Let me bring all these eternal principles to their ultimate culmination. For what I have shared is not merely theory. It is the absolute law of imminent breakthrough, the divine science of manifestation. Here is your final revelation. You who sit here now hearing these words, receiving this message, you are not approaching your breakthrough, you are standing at its very presence. The very fact that these words are reaching your consciousness is absolute proof that your manifestation is at hand. Remember this fundamental truth: the universe, which is your own wonderful human imagination pushed out, must respond to your consciousness of breakthrough by human timing, by divine law, not by mortal calculation, but by eternal principle. Here is your final instruction. Take what I have revealed to you tonight and live in the absolute assurance that everything you desire is already pressing against the thin veil of appearance-seeking expression. For this is not mere possibility, this is divine law. I tell you with complete authority, if you will maintain this consciousness of imminent breakthrough, your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this truth. Every obstacle, limitation must dissolve, every barrier must crumble before your consciousness of imminent manifestation. Go forth now in the absolute knowing that your breakthrough is not coming, it is here. You are not approaching it. You are standing in its presence. You are not waiting for it. You are witnessing its unfolding. Remember, you are not calling forth something that does not exist. You are simply awakening to what eternally is. Everything you desire already exists in divine substance, pressing against appearance, waiting for your consciousness to align with its expression. Let this be your conviction as you leave here tonight. Your breakthrough is not a future event. It is a present reality. It is not something to achieve, it is something to accept. It is not something to create, it is something to allow. For this is the eternal promise, and it cannot fail. What appears as delay is divine timing. What feels like resistance is reality gathering force. What seems like waiting is actually manifestation unfolding. The end has been reached for you now. Possess the key to all manifestation. Your conscious mithra. Use it faithfully, use it consistently, and watch every obstacle transform into opportunity, every limitation into liberation, every barrier into breakthrough. I want to reveal to you why these words hold such tremendous power and how you can use them to manifest everything you have ever desired. You see, most people spend their entire life searching outside themselves for power, for permission, for validation. They believe their desires must be achieved through hard work, struggle, and external forces. But I tell you this, all power resides within your own consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you are acknowledging the fundamental truth of existence. You are recognizing that the force that moves the stars and grows the flowers is the same force that flows through your consciousness. Let me tell you something profound about these 4 words. When you speak them, you're not making a mere affirmation. You're declaring your true nature, your essential being. You're acknowledging the creative force within you. Consider this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone recognizing their inner power. They didn't wait for external permission. They didn't seek validation from others. They understood that all power flows from within. You see, most people have it backwards. They say, when I have this, then I will be powerful. But I tell you this, you must first assume your power, and then all things become possible. These 4 words, I am the power, are not just words to be spoken. They must be felt. They must be lived. They must become your dominant state of consciousness. Let me share with you what happens when you truly embody these words. The entire universe must reorganize itself to reflect your new self-concept. This is not metaphysics, is law. This is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you want to manifest. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about getting something you don't have. It's about revealing what already exists within your consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you're not creating power. You're acknowledging what has always been true. This recognition changes everything. Your entire world must shift to align with this declaration. You see, most people approach manifestation like beggars, hoping and wishing for their desires to be granted. But when you know, I am the power, you approach life as a creator, knowing that what you decree must manifest. Let me share something profound about consciousness. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in your world is simply consciousness made visible. Therefore, when you declare, I am the power, you're literally reshaping your entire universe. Think about this. Every morning when you wake up, you're either reinforcing your powerlessness or claiming your power. There is no neutral position. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is either aligning with I am the power or denying it. You see, these 4 words are not just a positive affirmation. They are a recognition of the fundamental truth of your being. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Most of you have been taught to look for power in external circumstances, in money, in relationships, in social status. But I tell you this, all these things are merely effects. The cause lies in your consciousness. Consider what happens when you truly know I am the power. You no longer beg, you no longer plead, you no longer hope. You simply decree, and by law your decree must manifest. Let me share with you why these words are so transformative. When you declare, I am the power, you're shifting your entire self-concept. You're no longer seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You see, most people spend their lives reacting to what they see. But when you know I am the power, you understand that what you see is simply your consciousness pushed out. Therefore, to change what you see, you must change your consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement began with someone knowing they were the power. They didn't wait for conditions to change. They changed conditions by changing their consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in the depths of consciousness when you truly embody these 4 words. Your entire world begins to reorganize itself to match your new self-concept. You see, most people believe their circumstances dictate their state of being. But when you declare, I am the power, you reverse this process. Your state of being now dictates your circumstances. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to external conditions. Let me tell you something profound about manifestation. When you know I am the power, you stop asking how things will manifest. You understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your problems, your limitations, your obstacles. But I tell you this, these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. You see, when you truly embody these 4 words, you enter a new dimension of being. In this dimension, problems don't need to be solved. They simply dissolve in the light of your consciousness. Think about this. Everything you see in your world right now is the result of your previous concepts about yourself. Change the concept by knowing I am the power, and your world must change. Let me share with you the true meaning of these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a positive statement. You're acknowledging your true identity. Most of you have been taught to look for causes outside yourself. But when you know I am the power, you understand that you are the only cause in your world. Consider this carefully. Every condition in your life right now is simply a shadow of your consciousness. When you truly know I am the power, you cease fighting shadows and start changing consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformative nature of these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing the very foundation of your reality. You see, most people live their entire lives believing they're victims of circumstances. But when you truly embody I am the power, you understand that circumstances are merely reflections of consciousness. Consider what happens when you wake up each morning knowing I'm the power. Suddenly, obstacles become opportunities. Problems become possibilities. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate your creative power. Let me share something profound about these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a future promise. You're claiming a present reality. This distinction changes everything. Most of you sit here thinking about what you want to create in your future. But I tell you this, there is no future creation. There is only present assumption. When you know I am the power, you understand that what you assume now must manifest. You see, these four words are not just a statement. They are a complete shift in consciousness. When you truly embody them, you cease looking outside yourself for anything. Think about this. Every time you say, I can't or it's too difficult, you're denying these four words. You're giving your power away to external conditions. Let me tell you what happens when you consistently maintain this consciousness. Your entire world must reshape itself to reflect your new self-concept. Most of you have spent years accumulating evidence of your limitations. But when you know I am the power, you understand that all past evidence is irrelevant. Only your present assumption matters. Consider this. Every great achievement in your life began with a shift in consciousness. When you knew you could, you did. These four words simply make this knowing permanent. Let me share with you something profound about these four words that most will never understand. When you declare, I am the power, you're not just making a statement. You're activating the very force that created the universe. You see, most people spend their lives waiting for permission to be powerful. They wait for the right circumstances, the right credentials, the right moment. But I tell you this, the only permission you need is your own recognition that I am the power. Consider what happens in your world when you truly embody these words. Your relationships change because you no longer seek power from others. Your work transforms because you no longer depend on external validation. Your entire life shifts because you're operating from a new dimension of consciousness. Let me tell you about the subtle shift that occurs when you consistently maintain this state. You stop asking, when will my desire manifest? Because you understand that manifestation is not a future event. It's a present moment recognition. Most of you have been taught that power is something to be acquired. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power is your natural state. Everything else is learned powerlessness. You see, these four words challenge everything you've been taught about. Cause and effect. When you know I am the power, you understand that consciousness is the only cause and everything else is effect. Think about this. Every time you say I hope or I wish, you're denying these four words. You're placing power outside yourself in some future event or external circumstance. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Your entire world must rearrange itself to match your new self-concept. This is not theory, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your current limitations, your future obstacles. But I tell you this, all of these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no neutral ground. When you truly grasp these four words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me reveal to you the deeper meaning behind these four words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a casual statement. You're aligning yourself with the fundamental creative force of the universe. You see, most people live their entire lives believing that power lies in their actions, their resources, their connections. But I tell you this, all these are merely expressions of consciousness. When you know I am the power, your actions flow from this knowing. Consider what happens when you approach each day from this consciousness. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up knowing that you bring to the day whatever you decree in consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs when you live from these four words. You stop seeking validation from others because you understand that all validation comes from within. You stop fighting circumstances because you know that circumstances are merely shadows. Most of you have spent years trying to change effects while leaving the cause untouched. But when you declare I am the power, you go straight to the cause, your own consciousness. You see, these four words contain within them the secret of all creation. When you truly embody them, you understand that everything in your world is simply your consciousness pushed out. Think about this. Every time you blame external conditions for your state, you're denying these four words. You're giving away your creative power to shadows. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes natural to you. You stop asking, how will this happen? Because you understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here thinking about what's possible and what's impossible. But I tell you this, possibility and impossibility exist only in consciousness. When you know I am the power, all things become possible. Consider this. Every limitation in your life now exists only because you've accepted it in consciousness. When you truly embody these 4 words, all limitations dissolve. Let me share with you something profound about these 4 words that will forever change how you view manifestation. When you declare I am the power, you're not just speaking words. You're awaking to your true identity. You see, most people spend their lives seeking power through achievement, through accumulation, through recognition. But I tell you this, all seeking ends when you realize that you are what you've been seeking. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these words. You stop looking for signs, you stop waiting for permission, you stop seeking approval. Because when you know I am the power, what else could you possibly need? Let me tell you about the shift that occurs in your relationships when you embody these words. You no longer need others to complete you, to validate you, to empower you. You become complete within yourself. And paradoxically, this completeness attracts more fulfilling relationships. Most of you have been taught that power comes from doing. But when you declare I am the power, you understand that power comes from being. Your doing then flows naturally from your being. You see, these 4 words revolutionize your entire approach to manifestation. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold from your consciousness. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll try or I hope, you're actually denying your power. You're placing the fulfillment of your desires in some uncertain future. Let me share with you what happens. When you maintain this consciousness consistently, your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this new self-concept. This is not magic, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you need to do to manifest your desires. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about doing, it's about being. When you know I am the power, the doing takes care of itself. Consider this. Every great achievement in history began with someone knowing their power. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They understood that conditions respond to consciousness. You see, most people spend their lives in reaction mode, responding to circumstances, adapting to conditions. But I tell you this, when you know I am the power, you create circumstances, you determine conditions. Consider what happens when you approach each moment from this consciousness. You no longer see problems as obstacles, you see them as opportunities to demonstrate your creative power. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your financial world when you embody these words. Money ceases to be something you chase and becomes something you attract through your consciousness of abundance. Most of you have been programmed to believe that success requires struggle. But when you declare I am the power, you understand that success is simply the natural expression of your consciousness. You see, these 4 words completely transform your relationship with time. When you truly know I am the power, you cease postponing your good to some future date. Think about this. Every time you say, when I have this, then I'll be powerful, you're denying your present power. You're placing your power in external conditions. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes your natural state. The entire experience of reality shifts. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your present limitations, your future uncertainties. But I tell you this, all these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten its power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There's no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me share with you the final and most crucial understanding about these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you are making the ultimate declaration of independence from all external influences. You see, tonight marks a turning point in your life. From this moment forward, you will never again see yourself as powerless. You will never again give your power away to circumstances, to other people, or to past experiences. Consider this moment right now. As you sit here absorbing these words, you have a choice. You can continue living as you have been, seeing power as something outside yourself, or you can claim your true identity by knowing I am the power. Let me tell you what your world will look like when you fully embody these words. Everything that once seemed like an obstacle will become a stepping stone. Every challenge will become an opportunity to demonstrate your creative power. Most of you came here tonight seeking answers. But I tell you this, the only answer you need is already within you. It is the knowing, the absolute conviction that I am the power. You see, these 4 words are not just a technique or a method. They are a complete revolution in consciousness. When you truly embody them, your entire world must transform. Think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Will you rise as the same person who came here tonight? Or will you rise knowing I am the power, ready to create your day consciously? Let me share with you this final truth. There's no power outside of you. There never was and there never will be. All power resides in consciousness, and you are that consciousness. From this moment forward, let every breath you take be a reminder that I am the power. Let every heartbeat affirm this truth. Let every step you take be from this consciousness. Remember, you are not becoming powerful. You are simply recognizing what has always been true. You are the power that creates worlds. You are the power that moves mountains. You are the power that transforms lives. Tonight, make this sacred commitment to yourself. Promise that you will never again deny your power. Promise that you will never again give your power away. Promise that you will live every moment from the consciousness that I am the power. For this promise lies your freedom. In this recognition lies your transformation. In this knowing lies everything you have ever desired. Go forth now, not as seekers but as knowers, not as hopeful dreamers but as conscious creators, not as victims of circumstances but as martyrs. For when you know, truly know, I am the power. Nothing in this world can stand against you. Nothing can deny you. Nothing can limit you. This is your time. This is your power. Now, rise up and claim it. Rise up and live it. Rise up and be it. For you are the power. You have always been the power, and you will always be the power. Let this be your final understanding, your ultimate truth, your eternal knowing. I am the power. And so it is.